Hi, friends. Welcome to the Hey Fundraiser podcast. I'm your host, Mary Hackett, and whether you are a frontline fundraiser, the operations professional, a board member, or just someone wanting to make an impact in your community, this podcast is for you. We cover all facets of fundraising, and our main objective is to give you ideas and inspiration to help you raise more money. Join us as we grow, learn, and make an impact together. Hey Fundraiser, today's topic is so important. It is critical. I'm so glad you've tuned in because today we are going to talk about how your fundraising operations, your fundraising infrastructure can make or break your fundraising program. So I'm going to go through 6 really significant things that need to be in place in your fundraising operations to enhance your efforts, whether it's annual giving, major giving. Your operations affect your donors. When you can have really strong, automated, logical operations, you are going to lift all boats. So I'm excited to get into this today. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you're getting a very rare peek at my dog, Deborah, in the background, sleeping and snoring, but you probably can't hear that. Now, many of you probably don't know this, but I actually have 2 companies. One is Hey Fundraiser, which we have the podcast and we do major gift coaching. But my other company is called Databasey. And Databasey is to help fundraising operations professional shape up the back end of the house. So we're talking pledge reminders, clean database. Are you in the right database? Policies, procedures, reporting, all of the things that happen behind the scenes that help your fundraisers be successful and make really good data-driven decisions. That's why I'm really excited about today's podcast because it's bringing both of my favorite things together. Tell me if any of these sound familiar to you because I hear them every day, all day, people all over the country. It takes hours and hours to run my monthly reports for the board or the department. Cringe. And by the way, I just was on a call with a potential client this morning, and it takes them days to run their board report. Days. That's a red flag, y'all. That should not be happening. I also hear anytime I export something from the database, it takes a lot of manual zhuzhing to kind of triage it before it can go anywhere to a mail house or a list for the major gift officers to look at, things like that. That's also a big red flag. And this leads perfectly into the next thing I hear every single day, which is my database is a hot mess and I cannot live in this database one more minute. If that is you're not alone. Your database is fixable. It just takes a lot of time and effort to get it done. But today I want to talk to you about 6 big pillars of fundraising operations that are really going to be huge when it comes to supporting your fundraisers. And I'm going to say something that might be controversial. So I've lived in both sides of the house. I was a major gift officer for 15 years, and then I worked in fundraising operations for 10 years. So I have a foot in each camp. I speak both languages. I'm a strong believer in that you can't have one without the other. And if one is out of whack, the other is going to be out of whack. For example, you could be a major gift officer and give an amazing donor journey to a prospect and they end up committing a $50,000 gift. But let's say they don't get their acknowledgement for 2 weeks. That's not great. So you really need both sides of the house working toward a common goal, which is really just enhancing the donor experience. So what I have to say that's going to be a little controversial is if you're in fundraising operations and you do not see your role first and foremost as one that supports fundraisers and donors, you're probably not in the right job. Fundraising operations is service, and there's a lot of clients, internal and external, that you have, and their success is your success. Too often, I run into fundraising operations professionals who, let's say they're managing the database. They might think that their their number one goal is to keep the database clean. And then they kind of lock it down and people can't use it. And then it just becomes like this sandbox for that database administrator. That's never your goal. Your goal is not to have a clean database. Your goal is to have data that is useful and helps drive decisions for fundraising. So if you're out there and you're working in fundraising operations, really think about what your role is, because I would ask you to redefine it and look at the major gift officers and fundraisers' success as your own and tie those two things together. That's a whole nother podcast. Let's get into these 6 pillars that will take you from your fundraising operations from surviving to more thriving. And these 6 pillars, by the way, totally downloadable. I have it's like a 35-minute webinar, totally free. I'm going to link that below in the show notes. It's called the Fundraising Operations Success Formula. And I'm only going to focus on 6 pillars today. There's actually 24 areas of health when it comes to your fundraising operations. So that masterclass is going to walk you through all 24, and then you can rate yourself against best practice. So very interactive. It comes with a workbook, and I would urge you to take it, print out the workbook, and go through that masterclass to see how are your fundraising operations? Like, do you have everything accounted for? And it really goes a little deeper. But today we're only going to cover 6. Now, in these 6, they build upon one another. So we're going to start at the foundation of fundraising operations, and then we're going to move up, up, up until we reach thriving, successful, sophisticated operations. So let's get started. The first element that you need in your fundraising operations, and this is foundational, is strong technology and systems management. You need to make sure that you're in the right platforms. Is it easy for your donors to make online gifts? Do those online gifts automatically flow into your database if you're not using your database? Are your data entry standards in place? And are your tracking systems for pledges and all of those things, are they documented? And anybody could kind of come in and take over if your gift entry person won the lottery. And then you need a clean database. You need clean data and database. These are the foundational things in fundraising operations. So if you have really good technology and you can manage your systems well, that is going to bring about so much awesomeness. If you can't run reports, if you can't find gifts in your database or your constituents, or you have all kinds of duplicate constituents, all the things that happen in your fundraising database, it's going to hurt your program because nobody's going to want to get into the database. Nobody's going to trust the data that you pull. And those are hard things to overcome. So if you can master good technology and systems management, you are well on your way. And that's really the first thing to look at when you're diagnosing your fundraising operations. Second pillar is enhancing the donor experience. So are your acknowledgments going out within 48 or 72 hours of gift receipt? Is your pledge management system so amazing that your donors are given a reminder 30 days before their payment is due, 30 days after their payment is due if they haven't made the payment? Really engaging that donor so they're not late. And then your tax receipts. Are these tax receipts, are they beautiful and more of a stewardship piece? Or does it just look like another tax form that you just hand over to your tax preparer? So these are ways that your operations enhance the donor experience. The next one is supporting fundraising efforts. So can your fundraisers easily ask for a list or a query and get the data that they need? And is your database admin being proactive? For example, I see a lot of database administrators they have like a really beautiful query request form, which is lovely. But then a fundraiser will fill it out and maybe forget something. And that database admin will say, well, I gave you exactly what you asked for. No, friends. Like if you know that, oh, they forgot to add in a certain addressee or salutation or a certain piece of the pie on the export, then your database admin person should really be proactive in helping your fundraisers and leadership ask for gifts, or I'm sorry, ask for reports. Also, by supporting your fundraisers, what's really critical is onboarding them in the right way. Onboarding fundraisers is not easy. It takes a lot of time. And the shorter you can make the onboarding, the more time they have for fundraising. What I like to do is, when I was working in fundraising operations and I was onboarding fundraisers, is before they started, I would get together like this amazing packet of things. And I would sit down with them maybe once a week for the first month that they're in their position. And we would look at the monthly reports. Like, this is how our monthly reports are laid out, and kind of go through it with them, give them their database credentials, and go through what's expected of them when they're entering their actions or their donor facing quality contacts. Things like, this is how you submit a ticket to IT. I mean, all of the little things that they don't have to spend time digging around and trying to find. So the quicker and better you onboard your fundraisers, the quicker they can get to what they do best, which is raising money. And then the last thing I want to bring up, and this is kind of a game changer, is a daily gift log. So every day, everybody in the development department should receive a spreadsheet, a report, what have you, that talks about the gifts that came in that day. And I'm not talking about just, oh, here's Sally Smith made a gift of $50 and it went to unrestricted. Great. But I'm talking about being a little bit more proactive. On my daily gift logs, I like to have the donor, the amount, the designation, and also any interesting milestones. Maybe it was Sally's 10th consecutive year of giving to the institution. Well, that would be an amazing thing to call and say, Sally, we just got your gift. Did you know that you've been giving for 10 consecutive years? Like, high five, you deserve a parade. So really adding in a little bit of anecdotal information to that daily gift log helps your fundraisers in their stewardship efforts. And even on this daily gift log, put things in there that are just helpful. Maybe you put an email address for the donor. Maybe you put their phone number. If you work for a national organization, maybe you put in the time zone so the fundraisers know what time is a good time to call. These are things that just support the fundraisers so they don't have to spend time on admin. On my major gift coaching side, one of the biggest complaints I get from major gift officers is that they don't have enough time to fundraise, and they're stuck at their desk or in meetings, like doing admin work. So if your operations professional can peel back some of those administrative duties that get in way of fundraising, huge, just huge. Okay, we're halfway through. So our number 4 pillar is data-driven reports and analytics. Okay, we could have a summit on this. I do love reporting. I love reporting so much because this drives your fundraising strategy. If you have dirty data, or you can't get data out of the system and you can't pull reports, then nobody has any visibility into what's working in your fundraising program. And more importantly than what's working is what's not working, like what needs to be changed. Reports are a game changer. So big things here are monthly reporting. Your monthly reporting to the team should be beautiful. It should be very easy to read and understand. It should be timely, and it should be accurate. it should be the same report every month so people get used to looking at it. They can quickly decipher it, quickly understand what's happening and what they need to do for their program. And I would urge you on this monthly reporting, if you're working in a bigger fundraising shop where you have an annual giving department and you have a major gift department and you have a plan giving department, each of those little departments should get their own reports. How are the appeals faring for your annual giving? How many or what's your acquisition? How's your acquisition going? Like, are you bringing in new donors? What is their average gift? All the things. And maybe the reports for major gift officers look very different. The report should be tailored for the audience, but then everybody should really get like, where are we to goal? So there's your monthly reporting. Then your annual reporting. And see, this is where it's really fun as a fundraising operations professional, is every year you should be presenting to the entire department big overarching stats. For example, what is our retention rate? And how has that retention rate changed over the past few years? So trend data is very good. Like, what is the breakdown of our donors? Like, how much came from corporations? How much came from family foundations? How many came from individuals? And then look at that over multiple years so people can understand and view the fundraising efforts and what's working. This is the best thing to help your fundraisers and leadership understand their program, understand what's working, and then build really strong strategies to enhance what they want to enhance. So I urge operations professionals, at the end of the fiscal year, go ahead and close the fiscal year, but maybe 4 or 6 weeks after you've closed the fiscal year, do a presentation and show the department how things went. So that's your annual reporting. The other thing is just-in-time reporting. So calendar year end is crazy. We all know that. November, December, bananas. One thing that operations professionals can do to kind of alleviate some of those crazy moments and like trying to understand what's going on is do just-in-time reporting. So every Friday, your operations professional, especially during Q4, should provide a report of every gift that came in this week, how every appeal is faring. This allows fundraisers to not wait until the end of the year to see how their year-end giving kind of fared. It allows them to course correct if they need to. So an example might be you sent out an acquisition mailing. So you're looking for new donors. And let's say you sent out 500 pieces of mail and you've gotten back 10 gifts. Well, if you have enough time, you could maybe do a double drop and say, okay, we're going to go ahead and remail or send an email to the 490 constituents that haven't given yet. But if you don't know that, then you can't course correct or you can't enhance your year-end efforts. This is why I love just-in-time reporting. Okay, so we're getting up to the final two. These final two things are sophisticated and really demonstrate that your fundraising operations are next level. The next one is building collegial partnerships. Your fundraising operations team should have really great, deep, collegial working relationships with finance. They should be reconciling every single month to the penny. And when there's issues, that your operations folks and your finance folks sit down together and figure out, what are we missing? What's going on? The other important partnership is with IT. This flies under the radar a lot. But the reason that you want to have a good relationship with IT is that your IT department does a lot for all the different departments of your nonprofit. But when your fundraising software goes down, when you're trying to get emails out and the server goes down, like anything that happens, if they understand fundraising and they understand fundraising's role in the nonprofit, then they tend to prioritize the development department. So it's really important to have a great working relationship with IT. They also can help you with onboarding new software. They keep us safe from malware and viruses and all the things. So they're a really great relationship to have. And then lastly, you want to have a really great relationship with your HR department. This is the department that helps you find amazing talent. So your operations professional can really help with this. They can talk with HR, meet with HR, talk about competencies that are desired, talk about characteristics and traits that would work well with the team. It's really critical, these three departments, so finance, IT, and HR, that a bridge is built, that communication lines are open, that you are working shoulder to shoulder with these three departments. And this is a sign of sophistication. Okay, last, and the most sophisticated operations tactics that you can have are standard operating procedures. Now, I know that doesn't sound super sexy. I kind of find it really sexy, but if you have database standards in place and everyone knows this is the data we're going to capture and this is where it's going to live in our database, then the chances of you keeping your database clean increase exponentially. So just having database standards for every field and every module in your database, huge, game changer. Policies and procedures kind of fall into this category. Do you have a gift acceptance policy? How do you honor communication preferences of your donors? So if somebody's like, I just want to receive email because I'm green and I don't want you to spend money on postage and all these things. Like, do you have a really good way, like, do you have a policy and then a really good way of coding those people in your database? Do you have a naming policy? Do you have an SOP for anything that needs to occur in your department? Like, this is a beautiful thing that any team member can open up and look at if they have questions. Huge, because if you don't have this manual or SOP, then it's just the Wild West. People are just handling situations in different ways. SOPs really help people understand what they can do and then how to do it, and also what they can't do and what not to do. These SOPs are also great when you're onboarding your new team members. Okay, lastly, proactive gift entry. A lot of operations folks, they see their role as reactive. A pile of gifts is put onto their desk and like, okay, I need to react. I'm going to enter these into the database. Great. But you can take it a step further. So proactive gift entry is all about letting gift officers know interesting things. So let's say somebody has given to your organization $50 a year for the last 8 years. And then all of a sudden they make a $1,000 gift or a $500 gift. That's huge. Somebody should know about that. Somebody should call. Somebody should reach out and see what inspired that gift. And that's a daymaker call. Like, that's a beautiful stewardship thing. However, most gift entry professionals, they're the first to see gifts come in the door. And they're the ones that know the names in the database. They're like, oh, wow, this person, gave 10 times what they've normally given. Or this person has started giving 3 times a year. Or this person's coming up on their 15th consecutive year. Or this person is coming up to, they've given a lifetime giving of, they're just shy of $100,000. Like, whatever it is, these are things that you can reach out to gift officers and leadership with. And it just demonstrates that you're just being very proactive in your gift entry. Like, it's not just a gift that you're entering, like you're paying attention and you're letting people know, the right people, so that they can have new prospects or just call and thank a donor. So there you have it. Those are my 6 big pillars of strong fundraising operations. Now, if you want to take the 35-minute masterclass, I'm going to link that below. It's totally free. And it's going to really dig into those 6 pillars and give you best practices for each. And then you can kind of score your program. But I'm eager to hear from you. I'm eager to know how does your fundraising operations affect your fundraising? And then how does your fundraising affect your operations? So there should be a really beautiful relationship between the frontline fundraisers and the people, the engine kind of behind the scenes. And so I'd like to hear more from you about what does it look like? What are your challenges? So you can always send me an email. I'm fascinated by both sides of the house. So whether you're a fundraiser or a operations professional, I would love to hear from you. Okay, fundraiser, I'll see you next time. Hey, fundraiser, thanks so much for being here today. Did you know that we create a special page for each episode that has helpful links, episode highlights, standout quotes, and freebies? Check it out in today's episode description. If you loved what you heard today, would you kindly give us a rating and review? It really helps other fundraising professionals find our Hey Fundraiser community. I'm Mary Hackett, and thank you for listening.